Things have gone final in our nation's capital as the Commanders get a crazy win at the end of the game, 18-15. They pull a rabbit out of the hat. How do they do this? The Washington Commanders. A Hail Mary from Jayden Daniels for 52 yards as time expires. And the Commanders win the game. Oh, my goodness. 18-15. It's Noah Brown to the other end of it. Jayden Daniels comes back, had the rib injury today. He ends up playing, and he ends up pulling off the miracle. It was not the offensive explosion that maybe we thought we were going to get between Caleb Williams and Jayden Daniels. Caleb only threw for 131 yards, but Jayden Daniels goes for 326, was not as efficient as he has been in previous weeks. He had 17 incompletions on the day, but the big one is to Noah Brown to win the game. Unbelievable. What a young man Daniels is. He makes you believe. He makes you believe that they've got something for a long time in Washington. I loved him coming out of LSU. I love what he's brought to the table in Washington. And today, the legend of Jayden Daniels grows just a little bit more.
I'm still wrapping my brain around what we just witnessed about 16 and a half seconds ago. So I think the adrenaline's pumping. This is a perfect time to pop on your exceptional show and talk a little pro football, my man.
Give me your thumbnail, your breakdown on Jayden Daniels, the magic today, but also just what he has brought to the Commanders in general.
It's unbelievable. I guess we shouldn't be too stunned, too shocked by what we just witnessed, the Hail Mary to win at the end of the game. I'm not going to lie. I was running up the stairs to help put my son to bed right over my shoulder because I thought it was done. I think we all thought it was done. Caleb Williams is the story here in the fourth quarter, leading the Bears down not once but twice. The first time they botch it to a backup center, right? Typical Bears fashion, and he brings them right back. I'm thinking that's the story tonight, but no, you're right. It's Jayden Daniels pumping hope, real hope, into these Washington Commanders. I just spent a little time down there, sat down with Brian Robinson Jr. for a story that people can read at golongtd.com. But, you know, the reason we're sitting here talking about the 6-2 Commanders being a legitimate Super Bowl contender is this. He's built like it, but unlike anybody else in the game. Start there, DA. I mean, this is a quarterback who's very thin. I thought he looked like a 4x1 U.S. track sprinter just walking by it in the locker room. And he can run away from anybody on the field, so he has that in his back pocket. But he also has an absolute cannon for a right arm, which is just as deadly. I mean, he's as close as the game has to Lamar Jackson, and he's younger. People in D.C. should be psyched about this kid.
It is one of the craziest Hail Marys you'll ever see because he scrambles all the way right. He's got to dodge probably 3 or 4 would-be pass rushers. He comes all the way back left and then has to plant and throw. I think in the air, it probably goes about 60 yards or so. He plants from about the 35-yard line. So it's about almost gets to the end zone, 65, 64 yards of the air or so. You have a guy that can be that elusive, but has that arm, and also I think has a great temperament in terms of his long-term ability to be a star. What do you project?
I really like that point on the temperament because that's really what teammates say about him. Not too high, not too low. I think it's real that he just kind of gets it. Think about the big time moments that he played in college. I think that transfers on over, but you know, the physical gifts. I mean, this is the kind of stuff that you just don't see at the position in general. You know, you mentioned I live here in Buffalo. We've gotten accustomed to seeing the kind of stuff that Josh Allen does game in and game out. It's special. He's built like Ben Roethlisberger with a ton of athleticism, with a ton of explosiveness. You know, the horsepower that Josh Allen plays with can just kind of overwhelm a game. Watching the Commanders, you know, he's built completely different, right? Jayden Daniels, it doesn't look anything like Josh Allen in terms of that girth that Allen has, but that similar horsepower, he can just kind of will the Commanders down the field. I mean, they dominated this game for all intents and purposes. That fourth quarter was so crazy. You know, the story kind of became the Bears and Caleb Williams, but if you look at it in its totality, I mean, they're settling for field goals. Jayden Daniels was incredible this entire game, just in control of everything. And this is off of that rib injury. I mean, this is off of an injury that we thought would keep him out for a week, 2, who knows how many weeks he could have sat out with this thing. So he's tough. The moment's not too big. He's unbelievably athletic. He's got a big arm. I don't think we're getting carried away with ourselves here, because now the next question is, do defenses catch up to him? We have seen the flashes and pan quarterbacks. You know, they eventually defenses kind of figure them out. I think, though, I don't know where you start to defend Jayden Daniels, right? Like, where do you take away the legs? Like, do you have multiple spies on him to take that away? Fine. He can beat you with his arm.